Hey everyone, so I'm gonna make this video. It's probably gonna be not that long, but it might be a little bit of a long video. But I'm gonna make a video here on just which characters will return to Ninjago episodes. Now, of course, there's been lots of characters that have come in and then have kind of gone. Now, of course, a Ninja and Sensei Wu, Nia, and all them, they're not gonna go anywhere. But like some of the non-as main characters, will they actually be coming back? Now, I'm sure some of these probably will, but I might be missing some other characters. I just put together some of the big ones I could think of. But as you can see here, I just kind of put it all together here in a collage here. I'll go through pictures as well. So I'm gonna go off with the pictures here I have. First is Captain Soto. I'm gonna talk about Captain Soto. He has not been in this episodes much at all, actually. I think he was brought back to life in episode 15 with Garmadon's mega weapon and his whole crew of pirates. And I think he popped up in episode 17, but he has not popped up in many episodes. I know he was in episode 43 in the prison. As you can see here, it's the picture from 43. So I just got the newest picture of him we can get. But they did show him again in 43, but then they obviously haven't shown him again. But the only reason I'm bringing Captain Soto up is because the rumors of Pirates coming in Season 6. So if Pirates come in Season 6, will he be part of the next season? That'd be very interesting. Captain Soto is a pretty cool character. He's pretty interesting, especially with like No Eyed Pete and all that too, his whole crew. So I don't know how well his crew would even face off against the ninja, but you know, I'm just wondering if we'd even see him next season or not. But I mean, he's one of them. Now another big one is Ronin. Ronin, he was a big character in season 5. He's in most of the episodes. I think only about 3 of them he wasn't actually, like the first 2, and then the one where he kind of left and then gave the ninja, episode 52, Grave Danger. So he was in most of the season 5 episodes. So he was a pretty big main character in season 5. But will he stick around and help the ninja out in future seasons or future episodes? I hope he does. He's a very cool character they kind of added in this season. And of course he was an enemy in the Shadow of Ronin game. But now he's kind of their ally. He's their ally and he's helping out the ninja. He helped out with defeating the Preeminent and helping out with getting people safe and all that, you know. So he helped on defeating ghosts. So I kind of hope he does come back. He's a pretty cool character. And yeah, I just kind of hope Ronin comes back. Now, another big one of the most talked about characters on if they'll come back or not, Garmadon. Now, we saw Garmadon return in episode 54, Cursed World Part 2, but that was it then. They were in the Preeminent itself, so they were in the Beast. The Preeminent is the Cursed Realm. So Chen and Klaus were there as well, but Garmadon was there. And he was all chained up because he took the place of the Anachondrite generals. So, but he was there. And they never actually said Garmadon would actually be gone. Like, actually die, you know. They said, wherever he is. And Lloyd said, wouldn't it destroy you if they destroy the Preeminent? And he says, wherever he is, he will always be with him. Wherever he is. So, I don't think Garmadon, Chen, or Klaus are actually really gone. I feel like Garmadon is going to somehow reappear next season. Garmadon has been a main character throughout this whole series. This whole series, guys. He's been in each of the seasons, and he's been there over and over again. He was in the first pilot. He's been there since the pilot episodes, guys. And he's been there. He's been in the seasons ever since. I don't think not every episode and all, but he's been in the seasons each time, and of course he showed up in this season at the end of the last episode. So he's been in every season so far. He is a pretty big main character of the show, so I hope he returns. And then there's Chen. Now I kind of have a guess that there's a lower chance for Master Chen to come back than Garmadon. But if Garmadon comes back, I'm getting a feeling Master Chen will come back as well, along with Klaus, because Master Chen was in the same exact place Garmadon was, in the Preeminent. So if Garmadon comes back, I can probably see Master Chen coming back again, along with Klaus. So Klaus was sent to the Cursed Realm in episode 42 when he opened the portal to send Garmadon there, but Garmadon pushed him in instead. So that was the last time we saw him until episode 54. So Garmadon, Chen, and Klaus, I feel if one of them returns, all of them will return. So those are some characters, just those three. If one returns, I feel all will. Then there's Pythor. Now, the last time we saw Pythor was episode 44. So in episode 44, he brought the idea or the plan to send Garmadon to the Cursed Realm and bring generals, so then he could bring the generals back, and then the generals could curse Chen's army and defeat Chen. But we only saw Pythor in season 4 in episode 43 and 44. Only 2 episodes. Now, he came in and rebooted in episode 30, but then he was only in, like, I think he's only been in... He's been in 5 rebooted episodes and 2 of the tournaments. So I think that's about 7. So he's been in most of rebooted. Like, a big part of rebooted. And then he was only in 2 episodes in the Tournament of Elements. So if you think about it, his return after rebooted, it just kind of faded away. He came back in Tournament of Elements, but then he kind of just went away again throughout the whole Ghost Possession season. So I kind of hope to see Pythor return. He's a really good character. His return, I feel like it was one of the biggest returns. You know, the one of the most exciting. At least for me, it was. Pythor's return was one of the most exciting ones for me. Especially when he pulled out the hood in episode 30. Because we all thought he was gone after the Great Devourer ate him and all. So, we thought he was gone, and then he obviously came back. Because Sensei Wu came back, why not Pythor? So, Pythor came back, and I feel like it was a really big return. And I don't see why they're just going to kind of fade him away again. I hope we see him again. I really do hope we see Pythor again. We didn't see him at all in Season 5, so I do hope we see him again. Now, Skyler... she is another character that I kind of hope comes back too. She was a very interesting character, and she only popped up once in Season 5. And that was episode 53. Curse World Part 1 is when they were in the Noodle House, and she's now running Noodle House. And she said that at the end of 44, she was going to go run the Noodle House. But she's there with Ronin and all that, and they're talking about the New Year's Festival. And that was about it. Then that was all they showed of Skyler in Season 5. So she wasn't in the season much at all either. So she had Tournament of Elements, and then she just kind of faded away again. Not much of her until 53. So there wasn't much of Skyler in Season 5, but hopefully she comes back. She was a pretty good character too. And then there's Cyrus Borg. I feel like Cyrus Borg really needs to come back. I mean, he's such a great ally with the ninja. He's such a great character. You know, so you kind of always... you know, he brings the good in things. He just seems always happy in a way, you know. He seems positive about things. You know, Cyrus Borg is just, he's such a great character. I mean, he was introduced in episode 27. He was obviously, his season was rebooted. His main season was rebooted. He showed up in episode 35, and then he didn't show up at all anymore during the Tournament Elements, and then he showed up again in episode 53. So episode 53 had the return of Skyler and Cyrus Borg. But Cyrus Borg, hopefully he comes back again sometimes. I know his main season was rebooted, so I mean, I don't expect him to come back in like tons of the episodes. But it's nice to see him come back, you know, help the ninja out, help the ninja build some things, get some things for battle and all. So he's kind of been great on doing that. So Cyrus Borg is a really good character. I really like Cyrus Borg as a character. And I do hope he comes back. Now, Kruncha and Nuckal. Of course, if they come back in the show, they are not actually going to be really doing much. In past episodes, they've kind of every now and then popped up and just done little humorous jokes and fooling around and all that. That's all they've done since their season, their little, not really season, but their 2 pilot episodes, and that's what they've been doing. They've had Kruncha and Nuckal kind of wandering around and on their own little adventures and just kind of fooling around with stuff and all that. So the last time we saw them was episode 35, and they were in the place that Kai was, and they were fighting, like, you know, it's like a little fighting arena sort of thing, you know. And that's the last time we saw them, at episode 35. So it's kind of fun to see them come up again every now and then, because you know, it just brings more of the humor to the show again. It just brings a little more humor in there, and Kruncha and Nuckal are pretty funny characters. So it's kind of just nice to see those characters all the way from the pilot episodes come back in every now and then. So it's very cool to see them come back, and you know, it'd be pretty cool to see them come back again next season. Now I'm gonna move on to 2 characters here that are right now presumed basically dead. So I'm gonna go to Samukai. Now, we did see him disintegrate. Now you may go, how the heck can he return? Well, this is Ninjago we're talking about. The Overlord was apparently destroyed. And, I mean, Lloyd literally, they thought he was literally destroyed from Lloyd's golden power in the final battle. And then they ended up bringing him back. They obviously, I feel like the writers can do what they want. I mean, this is Ninjago. I mean, I still feel like Samukai could even have a potential return, because even though at the moment he was disintegrated by the golden weapons, you know, that you never know what they'll do for the show and how they can bring characters back. So, I mean, Samukai, I mean, he was a really cool character, and it's sad he was only in 2 episodes. Well, technically 3 if you would count episode 19 when they went back in time, but that wasn't much more. But he wasn't in many episodes at all. So he was a really cool character, and it's kind of upsetting that we barely saw him. But he was like the king of the underworld before Garmadon, you know. He's basically the leader or the general of the skeletons, and he was a really good character. And it's kind of upsetting we just haven't seen him anymore, because he's right now disintegrated, dead from the golden weapons. So, but you never know what they'll do for Ninjago. You never know how they bring characters back, especially characters like him or the Overlord. And that moves me on onto my next character. Now, I don't see him returning at all, really. But the Overlord is Ninjago's greatest darkness. Now, of course, there's other darkness in Ninjago, like the ghosts, you know, I wouldn't technically say Chen's Anaconda army was darkness, but I mean, there's just different forms of evil in Ninjago. So Overlord is not the only form of evil at all. There was like the snakes were evil, sort of, you know, with the first season. I mean, the Overlord had a stone army, the Ninjroids. I mean, they were forms of evil, I guess you could say. But the Overlord made the Ninjroids. The ghosts were obviously pretty much a form of evil. Yeah, especially with the Preeminent as well. The Preeminent was a really big, strong form of evil. But the Overlord is declared as the ultimate source of darkness and evil for Ninjago. So, and if you would have listened to episode 20, you would have heard Misako tell the story saying that where there's light, there must be shadow, or darkness. Now, as I just said, there's darkness, evil with all the other enemies, but with the Overlord being the ultimate source, I don't think, I literally tell myself that he's not really gone. Now, I honestly do not think he'll really make a return to the show. It would be cool, it would be very awesome. He's a very great character. I really like the Overlord. He's just like a perfect bad guy enemy, you know. He's just like the ultimate enemy. And but I honestly don't think he'll return. But I do tell myself though that he's not actually gone though. If he returns or not, I still don't think he's ever gone, because he is, if you think about it, you would sort of think he's kind of needed in a way, because the story is where there is light there must be shadow, and the Overlord is like, or dark, where there must be darkness, and that's the Overlord. The Overlord was created by the first Ninjutsu Master in order to balance the light and dark. So And if there was already, I mean, if the first Vincenzi Master created all that stuff, I mean, the Serpentine were already there. The Ghost, the Cursed Realm was probably already there already too. Then he created it all, basically. Or at least I know he created the Realm Crystal. The Ghosts were there. I mean, he obviously, the Overlord created his own stone army. But I mean, with all this other darkness stuff, you know, all the other darkness in Ninjago, the Overlord was created to keep it balanced. So even if some of the darkness, other stuff was there already, the Overlord was still kind of needed because he still created him. Like, it was explained in episode, I think, like 30, the Serpentine were actually supposed to be created to warn Ninjago about the Golden Master, which was the Overlord. So, you never know. They say the Serpentine were never even created as evil. So, but they kind of ended up being the bad guys in Season 1 and all, and part of Season 2. But, I mean, I know the Overlord probably will never come back to the show again. But, if you think about it, I don't think he's ever really gone. Maybe he was just sent back somewhere, like, locked away, you know, where he can't cross over anymore, like he was at the Dark Island. I don't think he'll ever cross over again, but, I don't think he'll ever come back to the show. If he does, that'd be pretty interesting how they work that out, but I don't think he'd actually come back to the show. But again, if you think about it, I don't think he's ever really gone. Now, some of you may not like my little theory on that. I really don't care. That's just my theory on that. But I mean, all these characters in Ninjago that I just went through, these are some of the big ones that I've been wondering about. I've especially been wondering about Garmadon, Master Chen, and Klaus, and Pythor. Mainly those people I've been wondering about. And I've been wondering about Cyrus Borg as well. And obviously the Overlord. Those are some of the main ones I've been wondering about if they'll even come back. But, yeah. So, I mean, there's just so many characters that they bring in. I mean, I know some characters are created just for their seasons. So, like, Master Chen and Klaus were mainly created for the Tournament of Elements. And Pythor was mainly created for the first season. But, of course, he came back and he's kind of been doing stuff with the snake stuff, you know. Besides rebooting, he's been doing snake stuff on his, like, the Anaconda and Tournament of Elements and the snakes and the fang blades and all. He was doing that stuff. So, I know some characters are just created for their own season. So, I mean, I know some characters don't really have or really shouldn't come back because they were just mainly for their season. But Garmadon, I mean, he's been a character throughout this whole show. He's been basically he's been a whole main character throughout this whole show. So I don't feel like they can ever get rid of Garmadon. He's just one of the characters. I feel like Garmadon is such a big character. He's like a character like Nia or Sensei Wu, you know. He's just one of the characters that just kind of have to be in the show. He's been there since the beginning. So I feel like Garmadon will come back for sure, or almost sure, because I just don't think they'll get rid of Garmadon. But I mean, I know this is a long video. If you're still here, I'm pretty surprised. But I mean, that's kind of my run through of some of the bigger characters that I just feel like should come back, or how they'll come back, or anything like that. But I mean, there's lots of characters that just I feel like that could come back. You know, make the show a little more interesting. And of course, next season they're going to introduce more characters and all, new enemies and all. So I mean, it's not like they could just bring tons of characters back. But I mean, I feel like I hope we get to at least see a few of these characters come back, especially like Garmadon or Master Chen and Klaus, or you know, just more like Garmadon, Ronin, and Pythor. You know, I feel like those are some of the characters that have been really big. So, and the Overlord, you know, he kind of had his run with the 2 seasons already he's been in. So, but I still don't feel like he's ever gone. So, you know, that was my run through of some of the characters that I think could come back or should come back. So, I mean, what do you guys think? And you guys could comment any other characters that you can think of from the series. I know there's been other characters, but these are some of the bigger characters that have gone away from their seasons, you know. We've moved on. But can you guys think of any other characters that have come into the show? Like the Elemental Masters. Can you think of any other characters that could come back into the show that have sort of been a bigger character within one of the seasons? So what do you guys think about this? And yeah, do you guys think some of these characters will return? I think they will.